what could be maybe near record warmth tomorrow, turning into a gusty storm system that tries to move through later tomorrow into tomorrow night, and that ushers in kind of a windier regime for the remainder of the week more often than not, but not completely windy. Anyway, our latest forecast at CWG.news/latest. Check that out by Greg Porter. And we've got all the details for you. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Oh, and the last thing, just a note for humidity levels, we will feel it later tomorrow into tomorrow night. Dew points could get into the mid 60s, so be aware. You're not imagining things. Could be a little steamy, a little toasty. Tomorrow, maybe we see 8 degrees. That's slightly possible. That is the record high for tomorrow at DCA Airport. So keep that in mind. All right, wind. That's one of the stories this week. We've got red, purple, and maybe some oranges there. That is over us much of this week, indicating wind gusts 20, 30, maybe a couple 40-mile-per-hour gusts of wind this week. Yes, some calm moments. Maybe on Thursday we can get a little bit calmer. So fingers crossed on that. But overall, it is a week that you want to dress for with hats, protect your hair, wear those windbreakers. Wind chills won't be too serious because we're talking about 60s for much of this week. But it's something to keep in mind. The jet stream is moving closer and closer to us in the mid-Atlantic. It's coming out of its polar jet streams coming out of its summer home in the northern parts of Canada, moving southward into our region. So that translates into more fall-like and winter-like winds that will be a little bit more constant this time of year. How much above normal are we? Well, we could be 15, 18 degrees above average at times. And yes, the record high temperature has a slight chance of being tied tomorrow. It's 80 degrees at DCA Airport, so keep that in mind. It's not until Tuesday early morning, maybe Tuesday night as well, where we really get that cold front pushing through after we get the gusty storms potentially moving through Monday night, later Monday into Monday night. We then get cooler air and a little bit calmer for a moment, even though it is a little bit breezy and windy. Good evening, David. Hello, Peter. And Laura, I'll give you your pollen update. Great question. Everything is low across the board. That's the quick answer. So if anything's bothering you, it's hard to pinpoint this week. We've got trees, weeds, grass, mold across the board. Low, but that doesn't mean they're missing from the recent count. So I hope that helps you a little bit, Laura, and hope you are feeling all right and allergies are a little bit under control. While I am looking at further ahead, we've got the tropics simmering a little bit. We need to watch it in early November. Something could brew. We could see Wanda, our last name on the list, develop. And of course, there is that standby list from the World Meteorological Organization as well. So we just have to see what develops as hurricane season does continue through November 30th. So keep that in mind. All right, PM update is now available at CWG.news/latest. And here it is, some gusty storms possible tomorrow, later tomorrow into tomorrow night. And then it's kind of breezy, much of this week, breezy to windy, and rain chances maybe abate a little bit. We maybe dry out a little bit on Wednesday, but can't rule out rain again by later Thursday into Friday, and showers could hang around a little bit this upcoming weekend as well. So it's not the highest confidence forecast with the storms tomorrow, how strong they are, and do we have rain again at the end of the week that lingers into the weekend? So those are some question marks. I just want you to be able to trust us at CapitalWeatherGang.com. We don't always have all the answers when we see divergent, differing weather model data. We just want to be honest with you. Good evening, David. Good evening, Faraday. Glad to see you every Sunday. Thank you so much for joining Faraday on these weekly Sunday sunset chats on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. Earlier sunsets were going to soon see before 6 p.m. for our sunset and shorter days. Look at that daylight down below 10 hours and 50 minutes. We're losing still a couple minutes a day. So the ever shortening days. I hope you are enjoying the light while we have it. Diana, hello from Greencastle, PA. It's cool there. Excellent. Thanks for the weather report. I love that. Hello, Rick. Any closer to first frost or freeze? Well, yes and no. We do have a cold front coming through, but clouds this week should prevent us from seeing widespread frost and freezes. So let me put up what our average first date, and we're running behind, but in West Virginia, kind of the average date of first freeze is late September, early October, and then as you get toward the I-81 corridor, it's mid-October, and then over the I-95 corridor for further east, kind of by late October. In the urban centers, it's by early November. So we're not approaching any records just yet for latest first frost, but we are running behind. It doesn't look likely in the foreseeable future that we'll see any widespread frost or freezes, but we'll keep you posted at CapitalWeatherGang.com. If somehow there is a moment, it only takes a few hours, where there's clear and calm conditions overnight this week, but it doesn't look likely for most of us at nearer sea level, not at higher elevations. I hope that helps. Hey, Carolyn, air travel for midweek could have a few delays, but luckily we have the gusty storms moving through later tomorrow, Monday, later afternoon into Monday night. So midweek, yes, could have a few snags, but not like the potential is there for some stronger storms tomorrow. So please keep that in mind, especially south and west of town. Strong storms are possible maybe as early as mid-afternoon tomorrow. They start firing southwest of town, and we could see some rumbles into the overnight hours. The biggest threat is gusty, damaging winds at or above 58 miles per hour. And yes, we could see some lightning and some downpours, but nothing currently widespread expected. It's still a question mark. How many storms pop, how strong these are. Yes, there is some wind is changing directions with different heights in the atmosphere as you go up in the atmosphere. There could be one, maybe two tiny weak tornadoes tomorrow as well. That's on the table. But again, it's not worth having anxiety over. It's not a high confidence forecast. We'll try and keep you posted. Just stay weather aware tomorrow. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Capital Weather. We post a lot of updates there as well. Hello, Deborah. We can handle the wind if the temperatures stay lovely fall weather. Well, yes, it's going to feel near record high temperatures for tomorrow. Maybe we have an outside chance of tying the 80-degree record high temperature at DC Airport. But after that, we do see more 60s, more typical temperatures for this time of year. You're totally right. So wind chills sometimes in the upper 50s can't be ruled out, but it sounds like you are autumnally ready, Deborah. I love that. Teresa, significant rain this week? That's a great question. It will come potentially in two different batches. So here's the first batch, kind of the next 48 hours. Half inch, maybe an inch in some spots for the early week batch that moves through Monday night into Tuesday. Here is a simulated radar kind of going through Monday mid-afternoon. You can see things start popping and moving into the region from the west. The cold front is moving through, but we linger a little bit, some of this rain, into early Tuesday, even Tuesday afternoon if you are northeast of town, points like Baltimore and points northeast of Baltimore. So then the question is how much rain by the end of the week, because we do foresee another batch coming in maybe Thursday afternoon, evening into Friday night, maybe lingering raindrops into this weekend. So early week, we had a half inch to maybe an inch in some of the wetter spots. Totals, by the time you talk to me next Sunday for these weekly Sunday sunset chats, 1.9 to 2.2 there you can see in the 95 corridor, maybe more northeast of town. So we could use the rain. The hope is we don't see too quick of a rainfall rate and too soon and too quick of a time. So you don't want too much too quickly. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. No widespread flooding threat is expected at this time, but worth noting there is the potential there. We're leaning toward a wet early part of the week and then a wet later part of the week, with hopefully a little bit of a break in between middle part of this week. But again, wind is a theme. It should be breezy even when we do see more sunshine kind of tucked in there a little bit in the middle part of this week. Sandra, you don't like this weather, it sounds like, and the winds on Tuesday are not going to be ideal for your tree service. But if they can come out early in the morning before the sun really gets going, it turns into the heating element for the atmosphere, the boiler that starts percolating the atmosphere and amplifying the winds and bringing those winds down from higher up in the atmosphere, like the jet stream. We don't want to see those for your tree service. So if they can do it maybe early on Tuesday, that might be better. Tim, it is so dark so early. Yes, indeed. We are seeing less and less daylight. But I appreciate you tuning in earlier and earlier for these weekly Sunday Sunset Q&A chats. Ask away. I'm Gamden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Anytime you need us, we're at CapitalWeatherGang.com. So Tim, I'm sorry for the shorter days, and we're losing still 1 to 2 minutes every day of daylight. So we can expect it to get shorter day length between sunrise and sunset, and earlier sunsets. Soon I'm going to be talking to you before 5 p.m. and I don't want to talk about that. All right, Mark. Great sunset. Yes, please tag us on Twitter at Capital Weather or upload to CWG.news/photos. We would love to see that. And Chris, a nor'easter system is possible. It is developing potentially offshore, the first potential one this week. Here's Tuesday. The low pressure system is actually just off the map there at the edge, heading toward Cape Cod and points in New England, slowly out to sea. But let's back up a bit and show you how it starts with our potential for strong to severe storms tomorrow afternoon into overnight hours. That in the yellow area hit right there. We've got a strong low pressure system over the Great Lakes, a vigorous cold front trying to move through here tomorrow. This is for tomorrow evening where the cold front could be. And then you can see that weak low pressure off of the Carolinas. That's what then on Tuesday evening develops into a nor'easter potentially. And yes, another one is possible for this weekend, and that's why we're thinking these are not too outlandish rain totals, especially look at that northeast of town, northeast parts of the mid-Atlantic region could see more rain this week if that nor'easter does develop a second type of nor'easter system later this week. We have to keep an eye on it. There are question marks. The rain, does it linger into the weekend as well? Remains to be seen. So great question, Chris. Dawn, hello in Fairfax. Are we getting rain on Friday? I'm going to a party. I have to lean toward the answer is yes. There are some question marks, as I've been saying, about the end of this week. Does the rain linger? It is uncertain. So please have a plan B for those outdoor parties. Rain chances and even some breeziness and windiness is potentially back again on Friday if that nor'easter does develop offshore. So latest at CWG.news/latest, the PM update forecast by Greg Porter. I'm Cameron Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com with you for another 8 minutes. Please let me know for our 20-minute weekly Sunday sunset chat if you have any other questions or comments. Here's your forecast at a glance. Gusty storms, we want to kind of flag that for tomorrow. That is the potential for some strong to severe storms tomorrow, especially south and west of town. Not a guarantee, not a high confidence forecast. They might not even be that widespread, but we could see 1, maybe 2 weak tornadoes developed. The way the wind directions are differing with different heights as you go up in the atmosphere. So there's potentially for a little bit of spin. We could see the main threat from these stronger storms is damaging wind gusts at or above 58 miles per hour. So we want to be a little weather aware tomorrow as early as mid-afternoon, and then going into tomorrow night and early Tuesday morning as well. All right, we've got Kareem darker days all week with those clouds. Indeed, we really could see these clouds stick around. Hopefully we see some breaks in the middle of the week on Wednesday. We will keep you posted at CapitalWeatherGang.com. Yep, David, overnight storm activity is indeed possible Monday night, tomorrow night. What else do I see here? Renee, California is really going to get some rain tomorrow this time. Yes, indeed, Renee, we've covered that. I'm so glad you asked. We've got the latest on the atmospheric river on CapitalWeatherGang.com. It's CWG.news/CAlatest, the abbreviation for California. So CAlatest. You can read up on this lining. It's historic and will pummel the West Coast, but California could use the snow, the heavy snow and the heavy rain to really put a small dent, hopefully, in the drought situation there. So keep that in mind. All right, looking ahead, we've got temperatures for next work week, maybe a little bit below average. And keep in mind our average now for today, Sunday, here's a benchmark, 67 for a high, 49 for an average low temperature. Next week, where this map is more applicable, of course, we have an average high temperature of 64, an average low of 46, so leaning a little bit below average, though it doesn't necessarily communicate the magnitude of how much below average you might be, but probability-wise, we're leaning a little bit below average potentially for next week, so upper 50s, low 60s, that's on the table, can't be ruled out. Just keep that in mind. We are losing our average temperatures from 67 today, and then boom, we lose 3 degrees by the time you talk to me next Sunday for these weekly Sunday sunset chats. All right, and then precipitation, let's put that up for you next work week. We could be leaning a little bit probability-wise, below average on precipitation, maybe a little drier next week. So far, though, the good news is drought situation on this coast, away from the atmospheric river that's going to pummel California, we're doing okay. We are glad to see California getting rain with that atmospheric river, which I'll put up there just so you know the latest at CWG.news/CAlatest there. But on this coast, we are doing okay with the drought scenario. We have good water table levels. The seasonal outlook maybe has a few spots in the Carolinas and the Tidewater, Virginia developing before the January 31st is over, maybe a couple spots of drought, but we are doing okay overall. So keep that in mind. All right, let me put up the forecast at a glance while I'm with you for another 4 minutes or so. CWG.news/latest has your latest forecast. I'm Camden Walker. Thank you for joining me for these weekly Sunday sunset chats. Anytime you need us, we're at capitalweathergang.com. All right, Renee, yes, we do need the rain. Christine, you're most welcome. Any snow levels, winter snow levels, thoughts? As we covered on capitalweathergang.com this week, NOAA and the National Weather Service, they are looking ahead to winter, and with La Nina out there, the news is not good for snow lovers. And I want to find the link to our coverage on La Nina, if I can say it properly. So La Nina tends to bring the mid-Atlantic and the DC area milder temperatures and drier precipitation, a scenario like that. So right now we have no major problems as it stands now. We have not put together our winter outlook just yet, and we will in November, I think. We don't foresee at this time any large-scale cold outbreaks that will coincide, and that's the trick. Cold air needs to coincide with heavier precipitation events. So we need to see. Right now, looks like it could be a milder and drier winter. Those are my thoughts. Charlene likes the below average temperature forecast for next week, leaning a little bit below average. And keep in mind our average high temperature by the time this map applies next work week is 64 degrees for an average high temperature. Let's see, we've got Kevin. Tomorrow's setup near optimal to reach 80 degrees from 1902. It is low-hanging fruit tomorrow, and I have been thinking aloud during this Q&A. There is an outside chance that we see the 80-degree high temperature tie tomorrow. Kevin, no worries. I mean, it's a great question. I'm calling it near record warmth potentially for tomorrow, but it's under 50% chance that we see 80 degrees tomorrow. But yes, it is low-hanging fruit. It's one of the cooler record high temperatures, and it's a long-standing one from 1902. Yep. So we'll see. The forecast officially from the National Weather Service, 76, and you'll see in the forecast from Greg Porter, mid to upper 70s possible in CWG.news/latest. So we'll see if we hit 80 degrees tomorrow. It's outside slight chance. I would love to update the record books. Since it's been so warm, we're so close to the record, I would love to get 20, 21 in the record books for what's been a warm day tomorrow. And we could, again, just want to flag for tomorrow, gusty storms are possible. The main threats being damaging wind gusts at 58 miles per hour or more. Can't rule out 1 or 2 weak tornadoes, so please keep that in mind. Let's stay weather aware together tomorrow as these kind of showers, downpours, and gusty storms move in as early as mid-afternoon, southwest of town, kind of northeast of town, maybe more tomorrow night is the time frame. So it's worth following us on Twitter at Capital Weather just so you can stay on top of these storms later tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. All right, we've got Katrina. Kids should bring umbrellas maybe on Friday for Halloween trick-or-treating. And I'll talk to you all on Halloween. I only have a minute left, but I'll see you on Halloween. That's right, for next Sunday's weekly Sunday sunset chat. All right, I've got tons of graphics here. Let's put up the forecast at a glance. Windiness is a theme this week. Once we get past, yes, these gusty, stronger storms potentially tomorrow, we want to stay weather aware tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. We do maybe have a break middle of the week, though breezy. We could see some sunshine on Wednesday, but another storm system possible by the end of the week, bringing us some rain and wind. We're going to keep an eye on that. Will the atmospheric river in California eventually affect us here in the Mid-Atlantic Bill? It could feed energy into the storm later this week, but no direct correlation. Here, I'll keep up the forecast, but no direct correlation here in the Mid-Atlantic for later this week from that atmospheric river. I want that graphic. Come on, Camden. Here we go. There it is, CWG.news / California latest for the latest on the atmospheric river. We were covering that on CapitalWeatherGain.com as well. Batten down the hatches, says Charlene. And David, I know we've had a lot of missed rain threats recently, but if I can get my graphics to pile in correctly here for you, I want to show you that we do have the potential for a decent amount of rain by the end of this week. 1, 2, 3 inches of rain can't be ruled out when all is said and done by the time you talk to me for Halloween next Sunday for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. So David, keep our fingers crossed for the early week, maybe ½ inch to 1 inch of rain, and the end of the week we could get another batch. The storm from the upper west coast headed here, Mary, not directly, but it could feed energy into our potential nor'easter, giving us some rain and wind at the end of this upcoming week. It's indirectly related, as the atmosphere does tend to move with the jet stream from west to east. Lee, you're most welcome. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGain.com, and I think I will leave you all with, if I can get this up here for you, our CWG.news / latest forecast at CapitalWeatherGain.com. And of course, you see there our La Nina coverage. We've covered that as well. And hold on to your hats this week. Have a small umbrella around. Stay weather aware tomorrow with some gusty, maybe damaging wind threats from strong storms tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. Charlene and David, appreciate you all tuning in. And Vienna Parade, Laura, on Wednesday evening. Have a plan B, but it could just be windy and not rainy. You might be able to squeeze that in. Wednesday night could be okay. So that's fingers crossed. We do have some question marks this week, so we ask that you bear with us. There is kind of differing, divergent data in the weather models, so we will keep you posted as best possible, CapitalWeatherGain.com, and just stay weather aware tomorrow in particular with those strong gusty storms that may move through. We want to just be careful of those. I'm Camden Walker signing off, and I'll see